Stay a while and listen.
About S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Shadow of Chernobyl. Now, this game is interesting. S.T.A.L.K.E.R is a first-person shooter set, as the name implies, in Chernobyl, but with a twist. In this game's universe, the radiation from the power plant actually released some kind of, well, let's say, mysterious space-time magic, which now manifests around the whole place as weird irradiated artifacts that for some reason make you bulletproof or hasten up your healing. And of course, the mutations. There are many scary enemies around that you will have to fight against. But, as in real life, the scariest things are other humans. At the start, you are picked up by friendly NPCs that give you the starting assignments so you can pay off the debt of saving you. After that, you can go wherever you want. The world basically opens up for you to roam through as you please. But beware, if you don't get good gear or many medkits, you will die many times. For some reason, the guns get much more accurate if they are carried by the enemy AI, and they will be able to shoot you from such distances that you often won't even know who killed you. But it just adds to the atmosphere, in my opinion. Now, let me talk about it for a moment. The atmosphere in this game is amazing. As soon as you get out of your bunker, you will come across NPCs that are just sitting next to a fire. One might eat or drink, while the other plays the guitar and sings a song. And most of the voice acting is done in Russian, which just adds to the overall feel of the game. It is a bit weird that all the NPCs that you talk to speak English, but it is in a Russian accent, so I will let it slide. After you are done doing few quests in the starting area, you will get a general feel about how this game works. And you will get a mission that leads you further into the zone. And since your character has amnesia and the only thing he knows about his past is that he has to kill a certain guy, that is the best thing you can do for quite some time. While roaming around the zone, you can loot everything you kill, either for supplies or useful information about hidden stashes of weapons and gear. And it's not just the overworld that you will get to explore. You will go into buildings and even underground. And trust me, when you do go to the tunnels, you will probably get a scare or two. Just look at this part. The lighting and the sounds do a good job of setting up the mood. Even though this game is titled a survival horror, the horror comes more from how hard the game actually is. Rarely will you see many deformed things, but that is good, because the less you see them, the more of an impact will they have when they actually do show up. The game does throw a few other things into the mix just to make it a little bit more interesting. The radiation is expected when you play a game set in Chernobyl. It is not a huge problem though. It takes a bit of time to get irradiated unless you get into a high radiation area without a proper suit. And all it does is decrease your health slowly. And the effect can be taken off by medicine or, of course, by vodka. So it should only be a problem if you are out of those. Besides radiation, you have hunger, which is quite self-explanatory. Just eat food when you get hungry and you won't have a problem with it. And another thing is bleeding. Many enemies are able to cause bleeding, but if you have bandages or first aid kits, it should not be a problem. The graphics of the game are a bit dated, I must say, but they can be sometimes quite nice to look at. And that should pose no problem to someone who is actually interested in playing the game. On the other hand, the thing that made this game a bit more special is its AI. It uses something called a live artificial intelligence. It makes the NPCs act a bit more natural and makes the game much less repetitive. So if you start a new playthrough, you might get a different experience than the first time. And another fun thing is that it makes the game feel much more natural. For instance, many of the mutant wolves or dogs hunt in packs, and if you catch one of them alone, they will rather run away and wait until there are more of them to attack. While the human NPCs do similar things, like going under bridges or into houses when it's raining, and even fighting each other for territory, which adds just bit by bit to the overall immersion of the game. So, to wrap this all up, since Halloween is coming up, I thought of games that would be scary but that aren't talked about too much, and this is the first one that popped into my head. The horror of it isn't in gore or jump scares as it is in many other games, but in the atmosphere and the feeling of being alone in an unknown and quite scary place. So, if you want to be afraid for a bit while playing a game, I recommend you try S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Shadow of Chernobyl. Goodbye, and thanks for listening.